Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bio News Network. We're actually working on a special update at this time for the severe weather that's actually occurring along the Texas and Louisiana border. As we had anticipated from our previous forecast, we anticipated that based on all of the different forecasting tools we use here at the Weather Center, that there was going to be very, very intense weather along the Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas border, also known as Arcalex. And we're actually seeing some severe cloud cover as well as severe storm activity from our satellite as well as our precipitation model. We do see that there have been several tornado advisories that have been issued by the National Weather Service regarding the area. We're talking about east central Texas, as well as eastern western Louisiana border. We can actually see it on our precipitation model here. We're going to actually go through for this broadcast, we're going to actually go through our weather outlook, special alerts. We're going to take a closer look at temperature as well as dew point, and we're also going to take a look at the shearing, which is going to be intensifying and adding additional fuel to these storms that are actually forming. As we take a closer look at what's actually occurring with the weather going into our evening hours we can actually see from the radar actually touching down in some spots funnel clouds from local service, local spotter reports. And we can actually see in that zone there next to McGee as well as Wesson here in the Louisiana area that there were tornado advisories in the area just a little bit north of Baton Rouge. And we're seeing some very, very, very powerful and severe thunderstorm cells that are actually picking up. Areas in the area of Jackson, Mississippi, Crystal Springs, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, and we just see a lot of very, very powerful thunderstorms in that area. We do anticipate that going into Wednesday, all the area that is actually east of the I-35 corridor should be under an advisory as far as some type of severe weather going in. What's actually happening is that low pressure system is actually anchoring down into the southwest, and then combined with a ridging area just east of there. Combine those two, it's an influx of moisture into the region of central Texas. Here we have radar of severe thunderstorms being formed in the region of Amarillo as well as Lubbock, Texas. This was a super saturated region. If you saw on the national news reports, areas such as Lake Charles received basically 6 to 12 inches of rain within a 24-hour period with severe flash flooding. What we anticipate going into the weekend, we do anticipate that there's going to be additional thunderstorm activity going into the weekend, and that's going to be a severe issue for the region also. But as far as that low pressure system, it is basically pivoting its way in the southwest, and there's going to be that's an influx of low level moisture into the region. We can see here from the Storm Prediction Center, the advisories significant for Houston, Texas, Kansas City, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Corpus Christi, Texas, as well as Lubbock. Lubbock, once again, is under the radar. If you saw our previous forecasts, there was actually a series of very, very severe incidents in that region only less than 24 hours ago. So we are actually taking a closer look at that area. We're also taking a closer look at the Texas Panhandle as well as northeasternmost section of New Mexico. Also areas under advisement too would be northern Louisiana, Arkansas, as well as Kansas. going into the evening as well as Wednesday morning. We anticipate additional severe activity as far as the weather is concerned going into Wednesday also. But we do see that high pressure system that is off the northeast coast, eventually that is going to venture off into the Atlantic, but it's actually working as a sort of a gear system to actually pull extra moisture into the region. If we take a closer look at some of the temperatures across the country, we see that temperatures are pretty heavy for residents of Florida. South Florida, 80s. Dallas is in the 70s. Los Angeles, the mid-50s. Denver is 53 degrees. In New York City, we're looking at the upper 60s, low 70s region. And in Seattle and Oregon, we're looking at upper 40s and low 50s. So there's actually a dome of heat over the southwest side or the eastern side of the country, while on the west side of the country, there's actually a cooling off phase. So things have actually flipped quite a bit. If you remember the temperature anomalies from forecast from maybe a few days ago, it was actually reversed, where there was severe dryness and severe higher temperature anomalies on the west coast, whereas the southeast was cooler. So there has been kind of a shift. And with that said, with the influx of low-level moisture into the region of Texas, as well as Louisiana, as well as Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, we anticipate even more severe thunderstorms that are going to be going into that region and fueling very, very severe formation of thunderstorms, as well as powerful cells that will definitely be fuel for possible tornadoes also. That area right at the corner of Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas is a big worry for us, because we're also taking a closer look at the dew points. The dew points actually give us a better idea as far as what's actually happening with the environment. It's very, very saturated. Anything from the central part of Texas all the way across to central Alabama, and then as far north as Kansas, as well as southern Illinois, is very, very favorable dew points for severe weather. These dew points are in the low 70s dew point temperatures in the low 70s to upper 60s. And you can see from the west, there's just basically dry. Even though it's cooler on the west at this particular time, the significant dew points that we're concerned about are on the east coast, primarily in the southeast, Texas, Louisiana, as well as Kansas and Arkansas. But we're definitely taking a closer look at that severe area that is actually east of the I-35 corridor going into Arkansas. We anticipate severe weather, especially with the cooling and the surface heating throughout the day. That will actually remove any kind of capping, which will inhibit any kind of tornado formation. As far as the upper level atmosphere, is very favorable for shearing, and shearing increases the chance of getting that rotation going for tornado cells. And we're seeing readings in the range of 40 to 60 knots at higher regions. So that's definitely something to be concerned about going into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. But we're very, very concerned about the border along Texas. We're looking at south, east, central Texas, also along the border of Louisiana, Baton Rouge area. We're already seeing various cluster tornado cells touching down in that area, and supercells in that area. As we mentioned, with the temperature anomalies, you can actually see on the west side, temperature anomalies are generally warmer to the tune of 5 to 10 degrees in some areas. You can see Nevada, you can actually see also Utah, 10 degrees above average, whereas in the southeast and on the Great Plains, the average reading, cooler reading, is actually less than anywhere from 3 to 10 degrees below normal. So there's actually been a shift in the jet stream, and also generally across the continental United States as far as temperature anomalies are concerned, and that has a lot to do with how the influx of the low-level moisture is actually going to be fueling additional thunderstorm activity going into the latter part of this evening, Tuesday evening, going into Wednesday. We anticipate that there, for regions along the Louisiana area, as well as also Mississippi, we'll see rain and thunderstorms throughout the rest of the week. We don't anticipate any kind of possible clearing out of those thunderstorm cells until possibly Friday or Saturday, as that low pressure system makes its way across and the high pressure system actually migrates off into the Atlantic. Then that is going to be a prescription for additional thunderstorm activity as that low interacts with the southeast and also the moisture that's actually coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. So we're definitely taking a closer look. One other element of severe weather is what's called CAPE, and anything as far as 1,500 to 2,000 or higher is favorable for possible tornadoes. So definitely when we do the forecast for severe thunderstorm and severe weather, we also take a closer look at the CAPE values in different regions, and we can actually take a look and see what possible CAPE values they are specific to coordinates. And we're actually seeing in the south central east area of Texas very, very high readings for CAPE values. So going into Tuesday night, we were concerned about flash flooding being a major concern. We do want to stress that for our residents in the region of Louisiana and also the already flooded area of Lake Charles, we're not, depending on how much those waters have retreated during the day before additional thunderstorm activity starts to impact and flooding. Additional flooding starts to impact the region, then definitely by all means exercise caution if you're able to drive. Please avoid. Keep in mind too that one of the high risks during flooding is electrocution. So definitely be aware of flooded streets. Streets that appear flooded may not actually be a street, but actually may be entrance to a river or a pond. So please be aware of boundary lines for severe weather, particularly when it comes to flash flooding, because there's often many deaths reported as a result of mistaken boundaries as far as what's a road versus a river or a pond or stream. And also electrocution. So do keep in mind that severe weather is forecasted remainder of the day going into Wednesday. If you happen to be a resident of any of these states, please share this video with friends and family who may be impacted by the storms, so that they can stay ahead of everything that's actually happening. They can stay in the know with special reports. Be aware of all social media that's available, and also if you happen to have a tornado alert monitor, then by all means make sure that the batteries are good and they're good to go in the case of power interruption. Also, you should have extra supplies on hand, food and water, in the event of being stranded by floodwaters also. So we're definitely taking a closer look at the severe weather. We will continue to monitor the radar for additional thunderstorm cells that are going to be touching down in the region. Please be aware also that there's this deep level moisture in the region of Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama and Arkansas, eastern Texas at this time. So there's going to be compounded opportunities for flooding. And of course, always remember that we do appreciate all of our subscribers, and always remember to bow to the weather. And, thank you.